Oh, na gadi wahi ga joke was what I'm serious nyardi. Cause he does real yajets ka hawa noji and dajets go in his star. Ranata runi. Ever since I was a kid, growing up in a longhouse, I used to sing a song with my father all the time. Whenever it was in the socials, whenever it came time for us to sing, my father and I would go up and we would sing the rabbit dance. And that's what this is, one verse. Oh, wee, oh, hey, oh, wee, oh, hey, hey, oh, hey, oh, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, hey, yeah, way, oh, way, oh, way, oh, hey, yeah, oh, wee, oh, hey, oh, wee, oh, hey, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, hey, Yahweh, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, we, oh, hey, oh, we, oh, hey, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, hey, Yahweh, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, we, oh, hey, oh, we, oh, hey, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, Yahweh, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, we, oh, hey, oh, we, oh, hey, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, Yahweh, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, we, oh, hey, oh, we, oh, hey, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, Yahweh, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, we, oh, hey, oh, we, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, Yahweh, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, we, oh, hey, oh, we, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, Yahweh, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, we, oh, hey, oh, we, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, Yahweh, oh, hey, oh, we, oh, hey, oh, we, oh, hey, oh, we, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, Yahweh, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, Within the longhouse, the rabbit dance is the song that is sung by the elders for the young people as they are rising, as they are coming into their own being and discovering their place here within this world. The rabbit dance is how the young people come together in a good way At that dance in the social, in the longhouse, in front of the elders, under the direction of the elders, this song is performed, and it is known that it is only the women, it is only the young girls who have the right to stand up and to cross the floor and approach the male of her choosing, to ask him if he is willing to dance with her. Now, it doesn't mean that the male must dance with her, but it is in this way that is the proper relations between the female and the male. It is that way where it is under the complete control of the female, for her to choose, to decide her path in this world, the way that she wants. Like a flower growing free, the way that it wants to grow. But as you know, if you put something over the flower, well, then it will be displaced. It will have to grow in like in an abominative way. So anyways, this is the proper way that the young girls, the young guys are to interact with one another. But this is not just one element of their life, of how they come together. Within the longhouse, there are many elements. There is the structure of the longhouse, which solidifies in the minds of the children from the time that they are born into this world, as to the roles of the women, the roles of the men. There is no confusing the genders here. There is no confusing the roles of the genders. Even where like we said, where the seating is, it is known where the men sit, where the women sit. It is known also where each clan sits. So myself as a wolf clan in a longhouse, I know that I cannot be with a wolf clan. It must be with a bear or a turtle. So when I walk into a house, I know automatically where my possible mates might be. They would be first on the woman's side, and they would be sitting within the bear or the turtle. And it would be very easy for me to identify this. It is not something that I would have to wonder, or I would have to question, ask people about. It is something that is intrinsicated into the minds and hearts of the people from the time that they are children, to know their role in this world. No, to know your role does not mean that you have to follow necessarily the roles of the people before you. Everybody is free in this world to choose their own path. And something to make clear right off the bat is that there is nothing that anyone in this world has the right to say about an individual's choice in the things that they want to do. Only once it becomes into the realm of the public domain, where it becomes within the realm of law, of violation. That is something that nobody has the right to do. But anyways, you have the complete, everybody has the complete freedom. If I wanted to be alone all my life, I have that complete freedom. If you wanted to be, if you are a girl and you want to be with a girl, that is your complete right, and that is your business. That is not my business. It is nobody's business. If you are a guy and you want to be with a guy, that is your business. It is not anybody else's business. But we have a situation in this world right now where there is a worldwide identity crisis. There is such chaos in the world on every level that you can imagine, every level, every aspect of human existence. There is chaos erupting, and you have to ask yourself, well, why is this happening? Is it coming from creation and punishing humans or doing something to humans? No, it's coming from human behavior. All the chaos in the world is caused from the humans' behavior, and the humans are causing the chaos because the humans are in an identity crisis. As being in an identity crisis, the people no longer know what their roles are, no longer know what their identity is, what their female roles are, what their male roles are. And so worldwide identity crisis has everybody existing within a big one big ball of chaos, where everybody's behavior is part and parcel to the destruction that we are causing and bringing upon our Mother Earth. Now, everybody wants to believe that in their own lives they are good people, you know, all of this, everybody's good people. The world's full of good people. But there are people in this world, all 7 billion people, who are part and parcel to a destructive process to our Mother Earth that they cannot understand. You're part and parcel to it, and you think that you can have the solution, that you have the solution. The fact is that in the non-native world, you do not have the solution because you are the problem. Now, the problem does not have the solution. The problem must seek out the solution from those that are not part of the problem, from those who do not have an identity crisis. Now, what I'm going to talk about today is something that is going to hurt you very much, but we are going to speak truth. And I ask you to think first deeply about the words that are going to be said. You will be hurt. Your emotions will be hurt. You will be angry at me. Do not look at me. Think about the words. Think about if there is truth in these words. What we are going to talk about today is this thing that has all of our children in a state of chaos, of subjected to the practices of democapitalism, where our children now, through democracy, are being where the parents are disempowered, subjecting the children to things such as gender identification centers, such as where now you as a parent raising your child, where democracy and the courts has jurisdiction over your child to assist your child to, if they're 12 years old and they say, oh, I think I'm this, come on. What child at that age is going to know to say, to think, oh, I think I'm this or I think I'm that? For a young guy to say, well, I think I'm a homosexual, or a young girl to say that, oh, I think I want to be with girls. What would cause that young person to say that? Of course, that's all the chaos that the elders are subjecting them to in movies, in video games, in the world around us, in the conduct, the decadent behavior of this world that is in identity crisis. In their behaviors, as we know, in order to have this identity crisis, that as things exponentialize, you have heard this, perhaps you heard this from your parents, or you have said this. Oh, things were better in the past when I was younger. And every generation says this. So that means that things are progressively getting worse and worse every generation. So if they're getting worse and worse, and the problems that existed 100 years ago are passed on to you, do you think you are qualified? Do you think you even have the tools or the knowledge necessary to deal with those issues that were passed on to you 100 years ago? The things that your parents, your grandparents never dealt with but passed on to you. I know that in this world, myself, I will not pass on the problems to my children that I have the responsibility to fix today. And so we address these things, and we identify that of this identity or not identity, of this misguided belief of LGBTQ. I will speak first to women. Women. When you refer to LGBTQ, which one are you? Let's see, there's LGBTQ, well, and more, whatever. Well, of all those, women are only one. All the rest are male. Women are allowing themselves to be confused because of political correctness, which is taught to you by democracy and religion, that this allows you to have a consistent decline in the human condition over multi-generations. So where it leaves you today, well, you're just born into this chaos, you're born into the mess, and you think this is the way it is. It's the way it's supposed to be. You don't realize, of course, what was handed down to you. The problems that were handed down to you that were never addressed. The religions, what they have done to your sons throughout history, creating homosexuals throughout history, as all religions, man-made religions, are created by woman haters. They are created by woman haters who are then, in turn, molest the women's children. And so then they, as you know, that it is said, it is identified in this world, that many young men that find themselves being torn in their identity, if they feel like they're homosexual, many of them, the majority, have been violated when they were younger by most of them through religion. And you can say, oh no, a lot of people have been violated by their uncles, by their own fathers, by their older brothers or whatever. Yes, and that has been intrinsicated into their minds over a multi-generational period, over the last couple of thousand years of male-dominant religion, to have this chaos in their minds, to not know their role, not know their gender, because it is the male-dominant non-native religion that puts forward first the lie that God is male. First they create the lie of God. They create the creation of God is the male self-glorification process of creating a God in man's image so that man will be the authority over woman. And so the ultimate goal or trick of male dominance is to have you women do the job for him. He is war. He is chaos. He is distortion of all truth of the reality of creation. The reality of creation is that you, if you're listening to this, and me, we were all brought into this world in the same way. Now today, you have the Frankenstein science of where you can be a test tube baby, or you can be artificially inseminated, or you can be even now cloned, where you are no longer real and your identity is lost to you forever. But in this process of how we come into the world, there is a reality of the interaction between the male and the female. And I will talk about this at its core now. At its core of the interaction and the life process of the male and the female is that to procreate, we know that the male and female must interact together. We know that if two males interact together, there's going to be no procreation. So if we look at that reality, well, those two males go off together, they're going to go play with each other, what's going to happen with them? Well, they're going to die off. Their bloodstream, their bloodline is dead. There is no way they're going to procreate. And so the reality of how we got here is through this process of procreation, and that the truth of procreation is that the mechanics of it is where we will find the truth of our identities of male and female. The mechanics of procreation is when the act of love takes place and the semen is traveling to the egg. Now, within that environment, we know it is proven scientific fact, and anybody, you can shrug this off in your emotions or whatever, but like I said, look at truth, look at science. So proven scientific fact is that the environment of the female reproductive system is too hostile an environment for a single sperm to survive. So if it's too hard for a single sperm to survive, then you know that if there was only one sperm, that it would never get to the egg and it would never be fertilized, and we would never be here. So this is the reason why there are many sperms that are needed. Millions, billions, trillions, whatever. Many sperms that are needed, and they all travel that river of life together to reach the egg. Not all the millions or trillions or billions of sperms, they know they're not all going to reach that egg. But the reality is just like salmon swimming up the river to their spawning ground. When you see the magic of salmon, how they get up waterfalls. They can climb up a waterfall 50 feet high. And how they get there is not one salmon can do that on their own. They need all the other salmons to be there going in the same direction, and they climb up the backs and they assist each other to get there. So the fact is that if all the sperms or all the salmons are not working together to reach their goal, the goal will never be reached. So it identifies that clearly what the role of the male is. The role of the male is to reach its goal and to beautify all that is female. Of course, the male-dominant non-native religions, man-made religions, have created and embedded in your mind a lie of creation, like we said earlier, the lie that God is male and so that female is secondary. The reality in this creation is that the female is primary. She is the first. You yourself in this modern day and age would have to be, I'll say, a mental inebriate to believe in male dominative religions that identify that God is male, because you know yourself that you were born a female, whether you are a male or a female. You were born of your mother. And you can trace that back 50 years, 100 years, knowing that, hey, there's no men anywhere in that line that gave birth. And you can trace that back 5,000 years. You can trace it back to the beginnings, the instance of time, and you will see and you will know what the truth is that male is not the primary. Female is the primary. She is complete. She comes complete with the ability to procreate. And the fact is, one of the reasons why we'll say that we do not speak of women and their sexuality, because our mother's private, personal life is nobody's business. You do an injustice. If you are a woman, you do an injustice to yourself and to all women when you identify yourself because of political correctness clumping you together with LGBTQ. You do yourself an injustice when you refer to yourself as a lesbian. You are our mothers. You are of the women who bring life into this world. Now you can say, or you can have some stupid male come out and say, well, if the two lesbians are together, how are they going to bring life in this world? This is the stupid male mind that does not know or understand how creation has come into being. That the reality is that within creation there is Sky Woman, there is our grandmother Moon, there is Mother Earth, then there is all the women from the newest born baby girl to the eldest grandmother. There is a definite process, a procession there that you can see of female, 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 where the female auto-creates. She has the power to auto-create from the mechanics of creation that she has in her and her pure desire for love and peace and happiness and life to blossom. She can auto-create. She has done this in the beginning. She has done this at other times throughout history, and she can do this again upon necessity, but that necessity will only be shown to you women as a result of realizing the truth of what male dominance has done in this world, how it has corrupted everything, including the minds, hearts, and beings of the women. A woman, why would you refer to yourself as a lesbian? A lesbian does not identify a female. It identifies sexuality. Why would any woman speak publicly of her sexuality? Because you know that all you women hate it. You absolutely hate it, and you call men pigs when men talk about women's sexuality. So why would you do the disgrace and dishonor to yourself and talk about your sexuality publicly in such a way that you identify yourself separate from what you truly are? You are a woman. This is what you are. You are a life giver. The life giver is the primary and is the ultimate power. Now, if that life giver wants nothing to do with men, which I can understand completely in this world. If I was a woman, I would not want a goddamn thing to do with any man in this world, because every man in this world is corrupted to the highest levels of which you could imagine corruption ever being. This is what we are now in this world today, so I can empathize, sympathize. I can understand, and I can feel when there are women in this world who are so hurt, so broken from what the male has done in this world that they want nothing to do with male. I support you 100%. I fight for you 100%. I agree. You should not have anything to do with the males in this world because they are piss poor examples of men. They are not life protectors. They are the life destroyers, which ends up putting you in the situation where you are in, broken, hurt, and confused, where you are speaking the words that the male dominance wants you to speak. So we'll go further from this. Why would any woman allow herself to be clumped together with male? Why? especially if you're talking about sexuality. Because when you're talking about LGBTQ, LMNOP, you're not talking about the being, you're not talking about the person, you're talking about their sexuality, which is nobody's business. On a legal level, there is nothing that anybody has the right to say about anybody's sexuality. You have the right to do completely whatever you want in this world, as long as it is not illegal, as long as you are not breaking law, as long as it does not interfere in the public health and welfare. So your sexuality, you pursue any sexuality you want, but I don't bring my sexuality to you. I don't display it in the street in front of everybody. Think of this. What would you think if I was in a room full of women, or women and men, and I said to you, I like having sex with women. And if I just blurted that out, I have sex with women. What would that mean? That would mean you would not accept that. You would be offended right away. You would know that, well, there's something wrong with me, that I would be putting myself out there basically for the purpose of saying, hey, I want to have sex with women. It's basically like saying, anybody want to have sex? It's an advertisement. Well, if you want to do that, that's fine. You do whatever you want with your sexuality. But LGB, when you're talking about L, again, that's identifying sexuality. So what is the next letter? G. What does G identify? Does it identify sexuality, and what gender is G associated with? Well, G is associated with male. So then, what does G identify? Is it fair that when you talk about women, you say L, which identifies sexuality, but when you talk about men, you say G? What does G represent? What does it mean? Well, G means gay. Does that mean the sexuality? No. When you're referring to the sexuality of men in that way, then you say homosexual. G identifies an emotion. I could wake up feeling gay, happy. That does not mean I'm a homosexual. Anybody in this world can be gay. That's an emotion. So why do women allow themselves to be clumped together with LGBTQ when all those other ones are all males? The reason why you do this, or allow this, is because of political correctness after a multi-generational trauma which you have received, constantly being bombarded by the male, constantly being bombarded by his war, by his homosexuality in his religions, constantly being fed this line of crap, of lies into your mind, that it's intrinsicated into you, that or out of you, that you no longer have identity, that you quite simply believe what the male dominance tells you. Political correctness. We're not here to be politically correct. We're here to address something. I personally have had it with this continuous use of the distorted interpretation of that LG, the G part. That's a distortion. It is completely unfair to the women that are grouped together in there. Again, because when you talk about women, you're talking about their sexuality when you say L. But when you talk about guys, you talk about their emotion. No, they are homosexual. Do not allow the word gay to be co-opted, because what it is, it's hiding behind butterflies. Because women associate, gay, yeah, they associate with that for some reason. But you tell me, what do L and HS, homosexuals, what do they have in common? Women. Why do you allow yourself, if you are a woman who wants to be with women, why do you allow yourself to first be called L? And then, why do you allow yourself to be associated with HS, with homosexuals? Tell me, what is the affinity there that you have together? What is the relationship? You know what? There is no relationship. This is a male-dominant hoodwinking, where they're pulling the wool over your eyes, getting you to be basically a political poker chip in the male-dominant game of democapitalism. Because, again, what do those women and those men have in common? Absolutely nothing. You might say, oh, you like the same thing. What is the same thing? We know what women like who are under L, and we know what men like who are under HS. So how is that in any way associated with wanting the same thing? It is a complete distortion of the truth. You are associated, women are associated with corruption. It's like saying that you're against rape, but then the males come home from a day of raping, and you feed them, and you love them, and you talk with them, and you're associated with them, guilty by association. So in this world, we will look at now what the lie is that many people, my so-called people, have been saying, that, hey, Native people have 5 genders, had 5 genders. That's a lie, of course. That's a stupid person saying a stupid thing based on the political correctness of the current corruption of male dominance in this world. So that does not mean that it is true. What is true, and anybody in this world can tell me if you think this is wrong. I welcome you. I invite you into this discussion. Tell me if this is wrong. That, oh, I should have brought water. Okay, where was I? What was I saying? Tell me if this is wrong. What was I talking about? Shit. God damn it.
We're doing 2 parts?
Let's just think. What was I talking about? Lesbians. Oh, okay. Yeah, we challenge anybody to prove this wrong. Within all the native peoples, all the original peoples, we are aware completely of the cycles of creation. We celebrate these cycles. We work with those cycles. This has been our way since the beginning of time. And this brings us balance. This brings us our direction in this world to the point of where we were the only people on the planet left to maintain within a matrilineal identity, within peace. The only people on the planet. You can say no. You can come up with all kind of other statistics or whatever. We're all in this world, and we all know the truth of what has happened in the non-native world, what continues to happen, and what is here. But in the native world, within those cycles, we know that unlike the stupidity of man-made male-dominant religions that tell you that fear your God, you know, that basically that after you die, that's it. That's basically what is intrinsicated into you through your religion. Because they tell you basically through your religious, how your religion manifests its actions in this world is through its politics, and through its politics identifies that you're in pursuit of your personal happiness, your personal gain, all of that, and it's done within the 50, 60, 70 years that you were alive, and after you die, that's it. So you fear God because you don't want to die, and you're trying like hell to make sure that you live forever, because you're afraid of the life process. But we know that, hey, like the skin on our bodies, anywhere on our bodies, right now there's skin falling off of my body. Now imagine if there was no rejuvenation process. Well, what would happen? The skin would just keep falling off. You'd see flesh, you'd see internal organs, muscles, all of that. Then you'll see bone, and you'll see me just dissolve away, disappear. But the fact is that there's a renewal process, rejuvenation, that happens every day. It happens every hour of the day with just our skin. It happens in with our hair. It happens with every aspect of our life, and we see it. The male dominance has made everybody so stupid that you can't see it when you look at creation. Don't you see creation rejuvenating itself each springtime? Every every year it dies, goes to sleep, it dies off, and it comes back to life. Well, this is what happens to us also. And so, as we have been through this beautiful creation time and time and time again since the beginning of creation itself, we are constantly dying off and renewing, dying off and renewing. If you got a flashlight and your batteries die on the flashlight, what do? Do you throw the flashlight away? Do you say, that's it for the flashlight? No, you go get new batteries, and you're using the same flashlight. This is what happens with us. We go and we get new batteries, and we come back into this world with the same spirit, with the same identity, to live again in this world. So we know, this is the fact, that I, in the present form, you see me, I am male. But in the past, in different lives, given the billions and billions of times we have been back around this way, that there is times that I have been in this world as female, as a life giver. This is the beauty of creation, is that each of us get to know and experience all of creation in every aspect of it, in every aspect of our humanity that we can possibly experience. And so, if you were a woman, you were here at one time as a male. Males, you were here one time as a woman. So, today, this is what happens. You have the people who are homosexuals telling you that, hey, I was born this way. It's because you have memory. You have natural memory of the way that you were at one time before. But here we are in this world. And in this world, at this time, and the here and now, you are selected to be either female or male. Now, you males, you are not in the power of the selection. That power of the selection comes solely from within the female process of procreation. And so I am selected by my mother, appointed at whatever time within creation is seen necessary that I must be placed over there with the males, or I must be over here with the females. Then my mother, through her power and her procreation power, determines that I must be over there to assist those males and to make happen what must be made happen now. And so I'm placed in this world as a male. I have memory of being female, but I do not extrapolate those memories into my current day reality as to saying that, oh, I got these memories of female, so I'm female and I want to be with males. No, I am in the here and now, and I deal with the here and now in accordance with the tools that I have been given. You, in democracy, have this crazy belief that you can decide, that you have the choice. Good for you. You have the choice. Look what you have done with your choices. You have destroyed the world with your choices. Within my world, we do not have choices. We have laws and responsibilities that we must uphold and protect to ensure that this beautiful machinery of creation continues, that not one generation while they're here with their corrupt beliefs are going to destroy this beautiful creation. So, now, I will talk to you of homosexual. Not gay, homosexual. Do not hide behind butterflies. Speak the truth of what you are. So, I will speak to homosexual. You can be homosexual if you want. There's no problem with that. There's nothing illegal. And there is nothing that I have the right to say about that. But I can look at the creation and the laws of creation, and I can identify the laws of creation and, again, what it means that if all the sperms are not working together to swim to that egg, if two of them said, hey, let's get off and go play with each other, let's go off to the side here, well, you know, those two that are needed to reach the destination are now out of the mix, and so the destination may not be reached. And when you have everybody doing that, which it seems like everybody's this way today, you got not just homosexuals, metrosexuals, this sexual, that sexual. Think of this. In LGBTQ and however many other letters they're coming up with, there's only two of us in this world. How come there's so many letters for the male? This is the corruption of male dominance. And the complete corruption is to have the women believe in political correctness that allows you to be associated with corruption. Don't be associated with corruption. If you are a woman that wants to be with a woman, don't allow yourself to be associated with homosexuals. Do not even allow yourself to be separated from your womanhood by identifying your sexuality. Think of this. If we're in a political process, well, a woman is supposed to have the rights, the power. Now, let's say she has these rights, but then she's got these rights as a woman, but then she identifies herself as lesbian. Does that give her more rights? She has the rights of woman, and then she has the rights of lesbian? No, it doesn't do that. You know what it does? When you leave woman and go to lesbian, it actually diminishes your power, your rights, your ability to affect the truth into this world, because then the male has you on the same level as those other males that are doing whatever they want. Again, those males, you can do whatever you want. It does not matter to me. But you don't have to display it in the streets. I don't display my sexuality into the streets. I don't demand a parade every year where I'm going to go there with my girlfriend and I'm going to dance with her in the streets and expose my sexuality and all of this. No, people do not do that. People do that who have basically, when you look at the psychology of humans, when people express something that is private, it is usually, and most of the time, always because of a guilt that they have inside. Now, if you got a guilt for something, what are you guilty of? Are you guilty? Do you feel guilty for doing the right thing? I never feel guilty for doing the right thing. I never feel guilty because I don't do the wrong thing. But why would anybody feel guilty? It's because in their mind, in their heart, they know there's something wrong. But that does not give any other person the right to identify that, well, these people are wrong. No, I will say that within creation, that you are not conducive with creation. I do not have the right to assert and to say that you are wrong, but creation identifies what you are supposed to be doing. What it does, the only thing where it leaves us, or where it leaves you, is basically when we know and understand that rejuvenation process. We know that it happens from the level of the very small, on the molecular level. Molecules rejuvenating themselves every second of the day, right up till the collective compound of our chemicals in our body, then renewing itself every day. On that molecular level in your DNA, you know that there's the two strands of DNA. You have like a ladder. There's the two sides. And there's what connects in between. How that is built, it's not just there. It is built. There's these two strands, and then there's an enzyme, or whatever they call it. I don't know. Don't believe me. I'm probably wrong on this, on what I'm identifying it as. But you do the research and you'll find out that whatever name you want to name it, there is this thing that is between these two strands of DNA that basically just picks whatever it is, these molecules, dust or whatever that's floating through the universe. It takes it as it's floating by and it places it in those rungs, in the rung in between to connect the two strands. Now, if it doesn't fit, if it does not fit, it is taken out and it is cast away. And what happens to it? It gets disbanded, dissolved into oblivion within the great spiral of creation. So if you want to return to the great spiral of creation in the good way, the way that you're supposed to, where you're not going to just dissolve, that you have to fill the role of what you were given the tools here in this life. If you're a man, you're given the tools of a man. You don't misuse those tools. You use them for what is supposed to be built. But if you do go off, again, like was said, to be a homosexual, you have that complete right. Keep it to yourself. It's not my business. It's not your business to make it my business. You violate me when you make it my business. I don't want to know your sexuality. You should be protecting your sexuality, because those of you who are that way, you know that you have been attacked for revealing that. So, what, do you think you're brave for revealing it? No, what happens is that you find yourself becoming isolated. The people that accept you, that you are with, they are isolated too. Isolated from the rest of the people. Because the male dominance in the rest of that people wants you to be divided from the rest of the people. You have your complete equal right to have your voice, to have your power within the political systems, whatever sexuality you are, however you exercise it. But within your political systems, you do not. You think you are gaining those rights to fight and do whatever to get these rights, but you're not. You're actually causing bigger divisions and causing a worse human experience for everyone overall. So, in the great spiral of creation, on the level of DNA, if it doesn't fit, it's cast out. Your life, while you are here for the 50, 60, 70 years, that's the time of where you are just one rung in between those two strands of DNA. And if it don't fit, well, you're cast out. You know when that will be decided? Well, when you die from this world. And when you die from this world, it will be too late for you to make the proper corrections, and you will be cast into oblivion. You will not be reutilized and have your chance to come back into the great spiral of creation. And you can say or believe anything that you want. This is the way things are. This is the realities of creation. So, everybody, find your identity as a human being. Don't bring your sexuality or your other beliefs or whatever into the mix when you are talking with somebody as a human on a human being level, because those are the things that divides you. Those are the things that diminishes your power. If you are here as one solid human being and then you say, well, I'm this, then I'm that, then I'm this, then you are becoming less and less at each moment. And this is precisely what the male dominance wants. Not only in you women, but also in you men that go that way. I have no worries, no fear. I am not in any way concerned by these things, but the lies that are being told and the emotion that people are working on as a result of those lies is what is causing chaos and identity crisis in this world. And that is what I am concerned with, because I have to deal with the chaos that has ensued from your identity crisis. It is time, long time ago, for you to come back to your humanity, to learn of the truth of the ways of creation. You don't know how to live in this world. You think you do. Look at your track record, what you have done. And you can say, hey, I'm only here in this world. I didn't cause these problems. It comes from my ancestors. Come on. Don't pull a cop out like everyone before you. You are what you are. I am responsible for my ancestry. I am responsible for my faces yet beneath the earth. What makes you any different? The only thing that does make you different is your false belief in what you have been subdued by, which is democapitalism. It has screwed your mind up completely. It is like an Etch-a-Sketch, completely dissolved the human relations between the female and the male, distorting it completely, where the male is in complete control, deciding absolutely everything for you. And if you think that you came up with LGBTQ, you are wrong. That was created right from within your religions and your political systems. And you have fallen victim to it. Do not identify yourself as anything but a human being. And your rights, your responsibilities as a human being is what you must stand up to and meet. If you start throwing in other stuff in there that I'm this, I'm that, again, well, this is where the people lose credibility. This is where you fall. You start down the slippery slope, and chaos ensues, which is where you are. So don't go on emotion. Go on truth.